probably are killing me is 6:30 tonight.
But sometimes it's 6 o'clock.
That they did, they have, yes, switched to 6 o'clock.
In my life, it would be at 6 o'clock.
And then you'd be like, oh,
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I wish I was more upset with this
It's gonna be, there's a lot to work through.
Sorry.
Makes sense. I
think we're on.
Hence why I have no.
I did bring a water.
How are you?
Fast.
How you doing?
Does Greg have to get into a meeting?
Yes, he used to get to the board meeting.
Are you gonna do any things, presentations, like should I move something?
No, you're good.
This is why I stood so bad.
He may not realize that he has to close out while he get into another. I just did.
Okay, so Toby's still recording,
Where's James?
printing some things that were in her folder. So she did a folder for the meeting, and for some reason it won't copy over to your folder. And she has all these documents, so she's looking at them, and what she's doing is printing up the ones that I just handed out to you. And now the other thing she's looking at is our safety plan from need and risk management and the district plan on the code of conduct, which basically, both things are basically unchanged. We still want to give you a copy.
That was in the packet, though.
I thought it was in the new.
Yeah, well, one of it was, and now it's not there anymore. And the safety plan was there too, and now it's not there. Yeah, no, it's,
Yeah, elementary.
we've
code
been
of
having
conduct's
trouble.
here,
Yeah.
right here.
It's all gonna be
There should
different.
be 3 codes of conduct.
Yeah, the safety plan was not in the packet,
No, I think
but
code of conduct, though. Actually, it's both elements.
So there's 3 different meetings. Every time we change a meeting, Greg has to log out and then log back into the meeting.
The thing is, I never got an invite for the second meeting at 6:30.
Because you're here.
Well, yeah, but I don't want to assume that he got it,
Can we look at my
because it's not on my calendar, because it's like you said, you didn't send it to me, because you knew I was gonna be here.
Oh, there he is.
calendar?
Ariel.
I guess.
Yeah, because we pulled out the remote.
Okay. Just got you.
Greg, if you could mute for us again, please.
All right, so start the meeting with the pledge and then we'll
Yes, we'll do it.
Yes, from
So, thanks for joining us this evening, folks. And welcome new member.
Greg, if you could mute
There
for
we
us.
are.
There we are, perfect.
Thank you, Greg. I want to welcome new member Tim Clark to the board meeting. Appreciate you being here. Welcome, everyone. Please join for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so.
Welcome, word of flag.
It's called order. Toby is not here, but let's do a roll call. Tom Roach is here. Amanda Durkee.
Here.
James Donnie. Is James come?
No, he's got swimming pool with the village tag.
Okay. Joe Carroll was planning on being here, but of course something happened at the last minute. He won't be here. Chris Miles is not here either. Will not be here. Ella Collins.
Here.
Christina Durkee.
Here.
John Guglielmo.
Here.
And Sid Clark.
Here.
All right. Awesome. Okay.
So we have some guests from Rochester, so we wanna get them up and back on the road.
Really?
Welcome.
Wow.
Again.
I'm gonna try to do this quickly, if I can.
I'm sure it'll be worth more like
It's riveting stuff.
Anybody else ready to do it?
No, I'm good.
Run through it?
Do I have to pass this around? or-
No, that's yours. Keep that. They did a presentation for us at the finance committee meeting also, so they handed those out to us.
Okay.
Just a little bit ago.
This was in the packet.
And yes,
Right.
yep, it was.
So what's happening is we have a bond that's coming due, and what we're trying to do is plan for the next building project.
Yeah.
So it's seamless, and if they dovetail, as these people are gonna explain, there will be no additional tax to the tax.
Right.
It just keeps things level. But it takes a few years to get all of that, everything into place.
So, I'm Sarah Bradshaw, this is Karen Moon from Bernie P. Donnigan's office. We're the district's municipal advisor. We've been with the district for over 20 years, 1998, I believe we just looked up. So again, if you have needs for a project, we want to make sure what the pieces are we want to look at to see if the timing works, when that timing would work. And again, the scope and what the project is on the other side. So we're just really just timing wise and the financial piece to see how it fits in with where you're currently at in the district. Feel free to stop me if you have any additional questions, or if you want me to elaborate on anything, just go ahead and raise a hand and we'll go through that. So again, a good place to start when you're going to take a look at a potential project is where you're currently at. So this page is giving us the information on your current debt service and building aid, as well as your local share for your capital piece, so these are all your past projects. If you look at the bottom there, this includes an authorization from 2008, 6.5, and then your most recent is the 2016 4.7 project. So the debt and the building aid that is shown on here are from those projects. So you can see in column C, that's your total debt service, that those projects are, and then for those projects, sorry, and your column D is the building aid that those projects are bringing back in to help offset the cost of the projects. If you look at column F here in the blue, that's your local share. So again, that is, you have your expense side, you have your revenue of your building aid, and that's your local share, what's needed from really the tax that goes on the tax levy to the public. In this case, the negative number is actually a positive number. So what that means is your building projects are bringing in more revenue, your building aid, than what your debt service is currently outstanding. So this is all positive local share that the capital piece is providing. We have a dotted line here across the page, because again, if we do have needs for a project, let's look at what makes sense to bring a project on. So we're looking at really two different pieces here. We have for budgeting the debt service side, and the left bringing in more revenue for building aid.
Sound great.
Thank you. That's always wonderful to hear.
Just wanted to see if it was there.
Okay. So again, the total debt service for budgeting wise, that's a good thing to take a look at to see where you're currently at, to keep your budget stable. And then your local share piece over here, again, that plays into your tax levy, but your capital exclusion piece. So you want to really make sure you're taking a look at that and knowing where you're at. Again, in this case, it's positive over there. This dotted line, you can see if you follow over here to your debt service, there is a drop in your debt service. The 25 year, you're at about 830,000, and it comes down to about 300,000 in the 2026 year. So difference over here of about 530,000, a drop in debt service there. Again, that's out of the budget. Good time to take a look. If you need to put something back in your budget, do it before it falls, and it kind of keeps things really manageable and no fluctuation. So anytime you want to look at numbers, the less fluctuation is typically better. And again, your local share, you're very stable over here. As long as we keep that a positive number or a zero number, you're good. You don't need anything on the tax levy for this piece. Any questions? Okay, and this is just a graphical page of where we're at. This is your, bring it up. Yep. This is your local share of your projects. And again, it's just reflecting that blue column from the previous page. And really what we want to focus on is this black line across the page here, this thick line. Anything underneath here keeps the positive local share coming in. And that means anything above the line means you need tax levy. It needs to go out on the tax levy. So your public will have an impact there. The goal in here is looking at what size project we can bring on to keep it below this black line. So no additional tax impact. And we'll keep looking at this graph throughout the project. This graph here is where your debt service is at. So again, you're stable at about 830,000 out until 2025, then you have your drop in 2026. So this, all that white space there is potential that we can see what fits in there for a project. Again, we want to keep even with the debt service underneath that black line, which is good. So again, we're going to try to manage both pieces, that local share graph as well as this debt service graph. Okay, so now we know timing-wise where that debt service can come on board and for a potential project. If there's a need for a project, let's look at the debt service coming in the 2026 year. What does that mean for an actual timing of a project? When would we need to vote? So this really here outlines some dates. Again, we're going to start in the 25-26 year. This is where you have to drop in debt. So this is where we're going to have your first pink box, is your first borrowing for the project. We'll have debt service come due June of 2026. What that means is if we back up, we're really looking at a vote here February of 2024. Okay, that'll give enough time to design a project. Again, with committees, with the however you work that, your architect will work back and forth, submit to SED, and then SED, the state takes however long they want to, or 6 months or so, to take a look at the project. But again, there's some time in there that needs to be built in there for that. So we're estimating approval January of 25, and then construction, you award bids, construction starts shortly after that. And then, so we have your first borrowing that's needed to pay for the project expenses in June of 2025, which again puts us at your new debt service coming on for this project, June of 2026, filling in that that drop in debt service. This blue box here is just your long-term financing of the project. So that's when you really know what the project expenses were, how your building aid's coming in, and then we structure and lock into your long-term financing there. Any questions on any of the dates there that we covered?
Yeah, just to preface like we did before, Sarah, when she goes through this proposed number, there's really no real project that backs this number. This is just financially what potentially you could do, size-wise.
Yeah, so really this is, again, just the financial side of it. When there's an actual project in scope that happens, we really kind of blend the two together to make sure what's been developed really does fit into this plan still. So these are all the numbers. This is what it looks like. Again, staying below those black lines, we have a proposed $2,705,000 project that we've come up with that, again, is no additional impact to your public. Some assumptions that we use, we can go over the vote again, February of 2024, around there. SED approval, January of 25. Your first borrowing shortly after in June of 25, with that first debt service in June of 26. The project closeout would happen around June of 27. The assumption for aid purposes we've used is the estimated 22-23 building aid ratio of 95.8. Again, that's the percentage that a state will aid you back on your projects, which is very good. And your estimated bond percentage of this project, again, just estimated at this point, is a 95% bond percentage. What that means is how aidable the project is. So the goal is always to have it 100% aidable. That 95% to us means this is a completely aidable project. It's just kind of a conservative number. We back off 5%. The state typically tries to find something that is not aidable in the project. So, but again, that's really saying this is a fully aidable project. So that means scope and building aid. Maximum cost allowance levels. So again, if we look over in column B, This is assuming you have a capital reserve to contribute to the project of $200,000. You have your annual debt service coming in. Again, your first debt service is hitting in the 26th year. Your building aid starts 18 months or so after in the 2027 year for a half year and flows 15 years from there. And then column I, you have your debt service offsets, which is really capitalized interest, and you can see your budget numbers over here. That 180,000 is really just used to help out with the debt service until your building aid comes in. That part of the budget is 180,000. You have a DASNY financing budget line item for about 160,000. That's to finance through the dorm authority. And then that leaves you with a construction incidental amount of $2,365,000. So that's really projects, your project budget. And again, all of those pieces gets us to the local share over here. This does look like there's an actual local share, but again, we're using that positive local share that you have coming back already. So with that positive local share coming back already in the $200,000 assumed capital reserve contribution, this really does equate to a no additional impact project. And we can see that on the next page. So really gonna start to talk really fast there. All right, your blue box here is just your earlier piece, your existing debt service, where you're currently at, and your positive local share in column D. Bringing on the green boxes here, column E through H, is your new project, that proposed 2.7 million project. And if we look both at these columns, column I is your estimated new local share. Again, adding that project in, and you can see if we take a look at this dotted line and down on your local share, you are really at that zero level. So that's what our target was. That's where we wanted to look and make sure that we look at a project that fits within there. Your next column here, column J, is your debt service. So you can see we're currently at about 830, and you were able to bump that up to really levels out at around 540,000. So we were able to increase that to fill that drop in a little bit there. Any questions on this?
So,
So we're back to our graphs. So again, if you remember in the beginning, we really just, the idea is to stay below that black line. And this is our local share, the black line is here. And again, it's not blue down here, but we were able to use that, again, positive local share coming back in, that additional building aid that you were already creating, to bring it up to that line that helped build the size project of the 2.7 without any additional impact to the public. And then this is that service graph. Again, the black line, everything's down underneath it. We did fill in a lot more of the white space here. We weren't able to get up to that black line, again, just because if we put additional debt service in there without additional revenue coming in, you would, this would look fine, but your local share piece would spike up above that black line. So again, just managing the two pieces there. Okay, and then this is just your building aid ratio and history of building aid ratio. Again, we use the 22-23 estimated building aid ratio of the 95.8. Your current one in the 21-22 is 97.3, and you can look at really your past history there. And that's really it. Any questions?
It's better the second time around.
But there's some clear things that, you know, we got some dates that we gotta start looking towards. I know we already started talking with your architect. And Charles and Greg have been involved, and Rich has been let know that this is going on. In addition, if we have the opportunity to increase our capital reserve, that upfront money is gonna allow for a better size project. Because as you can see, the more we have up front, the more we're allowed to get on the back end from the state. So, you know, if we have the opportunity to add to that reserve, you know, in the next year or two, we should take advantage of it so that we can capitalize on it. Our A ratio is phenomenal. As you can see, it's gonna be $2.something million, you know, at a cost of 20 $200,000 in the end of the project. So those are the things that we got going on. There's a lot of things that need to be done, and we'll talk about it later in the regular meeting, about things that we've done this year with HVAC, our heating system. But there's a lot of things that do need to get addressed, and we'll talk about that further. So thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
See. I'd say code conduct.
Yeah.
Undo the whole YouTube thing, that's not been good.
Thanks again.
Yes, thank you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you all in person this time.
Yeah.
Worked a lot better.
Very much.
That was,
It's working, it's on the 20.
Greg is waving goodbye.
Oh,
Oh, it's.
bye, Greg.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it was, it's the way it was set up.
what is it? Jessica Santos.
May 31st. It's under that one.
Oh,
So,
I need to go to the webpage for the first.
Sorry, everybody. For some reason, things are just messed up today.
Join your club.
One of them's.
I think the one that got hand. Did anybody get the, safety plan in their packets? No safety plan. Alright, how about I go and copy that now? Because,
That works.
that
We'll,
works.
we'll move it down to,
when it comes back.
yeah.
Let me do a printing right now. I'm just opening it.
So you got it, it's in the email. It's got the little miracle flag on it.
They have to drive all the way back to Rochester, Johnny.
Yeah.
That's a drive.
That's a long, lonely,
You know, I know, you
long.
know.
That's a drive.
We both had it.
That's just-
That's a little bit
That's
home.
a 49 drive.
It's not fun.
They need to stop for a snack.
When you get on like
Alright.
88,
I'm gonna move
Well,
all.
a lot of those rest stops are closed.
They really are.
Yeah.
They closed them.
No, that one, yeah, I guess we can move the hearings back.
Yeah, move the hearings back. Don't worry about it. Does anyone in the public have a community comment? So we don't. Alright, so I won't.
Public?
I don't see anything.
maybe pass a village board meeting.
Alright, so we can go to recognition.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's not tonight.
That's why James.
Oh, boy, okay. We're having some technical difficulties. First of all, we had set up the meeting with YouTube earlier today, and it seems that the link's going to May 31st meeting, which didn't work the last time we were doing it, but it's working today. So, but we'd just like to recognize a few people.
It's being recorded, I'm sorry.
It's being recorded under May 31st. Yep.
Sounds good.
No, I had it over here. Oh, it doesn't record on YouTube anymore. Record on this anymore. They took that away.
So how are we recording? Oh, you have to show me, just sign it. As long as-
It's under YouTube. I could put this back in to these
I
guys.
believe it's the way that they did the sports.
Yep.
Broadcast. Same.
So if I go here,
Gotcha.
YouTube is not receiving a video to maintain smooth streaming.
So you can't watch it while it's being recorded because of.
don't know what it is. I was watching over there. So remember the lady was talking and I pulled up her voice?
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
make sure it's just.
Yeah, I wanted to see if it was working.
Okay.
It wasn't working on June 13th. It was working under May 31st.
As a new guy, you have to FaceTime the whole meeting too, just in case.
Oh, man. I had Oliver set up to watch because he's
Oh, is
supposed
that
to be
right?
recognized, so.
So the good news is you don't have to do this anymore starting next month. People aren't at the meeting. There's no requirement to record or project it to the.
When does that come?
That ends like this month.
June 30th.
Just put in my SAG card.
Yeah, right.
Alright, so,
So this is recognition, Mark Standard and Hunter Simpkins are two students that during the spring school enrichment program helped our librarian, Mrs. Blood, with the Harry Potter wand coding sessions. So we just wanted to recognize them for that extra effort.
Oliver Clark, too.
And so did Oliver Clark.
Yes.
Yep, Mark Standard, Hunter Simpkins, and Oliver Clark.
We were
Big help.
library ambassadors, that's awesome.
Library ambassadors.
Great.
Mrs. Blue. Then we also had two students selected to Talented or Limited, which is phenomenal. You know, some schools won't get anyone, but to have two is really, especially for a size district like ours, is a treat. We have Rihanna Plood for artwork that she had, and Ella All for artwork that she had. Both of their artworks were very interesting to look at. I was gonna bring the book, in fact, I'll get the book after the meeting, so I can show you. But those are two excellent pieces of art.
Yeah.
You wanted to get some stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
Please.
Okay, great. Start with the elementary success. We had our elementary concert on May 24th and our high school concert on May 25th. Mr. Smith, Ms. Taylor, and our students did a wonderful job. The students played and sang a nice selection of songs, and a job well done if you had a chance to attend those. Our third grade has their Wax Museum Hall of Fame coming up tomorrow, 9 a.m. in the small gym. And our third graders will be dressed like their biography stars and will be ready to come to life to answer any questions that the folks have as they come up, and we'll tell them all that they learned about their biography. So exciting thing, and that kicks off tomorrow. It is open to parents. So
That's like, that was amazing.
yeah, if it works, then it's a lot of fun. Our elementary field day is scheduled for Tuesday, June 21st. We'll run it from 9 to 11 in the morning. We have fun games and activities for all students, and our PTO and our cafeteria staff will provide a picnic-style lunch for everybody. So I thank those folks for their help.
Yes.
For our high school, our National Honor Society students spent a Saturday morning on May 14th working on the Fort Edward Community Garden. Students built new garden boxes and spent a lot of time getting ready, all the beds and grounds ready for the summer. Thank you to all of our National Honor Society students and their advisors, Mrs. Scotch and Mr. Herman. If you go down and look at it, all the boxes were made by Mr. Herman and the kids, and then Mrs. Scotch helped with all the cleanup. But they did a really nice job, and so that's ready to go for this year.
Great.
Yeah. Our school track club represented us at the Foothills Challenge on June 5th. There were over 200 students competed from local area schools at the Hudson Falls Fish and Game Club. Our school was represented by Anthony Tora, Dylan Perkins, Miranda Sardina, and Bo Boucher. So nice job to those folks. Yes, and our 6th grade math class have just finished their statistics units. In Mr. Durkee's math class, their culminating project, they had to come up with a survey question and analyze their findings. They had to collect and record data, and they took their field notebooks with them. Students then had to construct visuals using dot plots, histograms, and box and whisker graphs. Each student then presented their findings and displayed their posters in the hallway. Topics range from ages of parents, the 6th graders, to the number of pets 6th graders have had, to the number of years teachers have taught here at Fort Edward School. So a meaningful and fun project. Let me just give you a little sample here. They're all over the house. Yeah, they're great. So, yeah, it's a lot of work that they went and they had a series of things. So this was the ages of moms. Yeah, ages of moms for the 6th grade. They really did a lot of work, and they had a notebook to back it all up, and then they kind of put it out on this. There's a variety of ones, and the next one I think is our teaching staff. Number of years teachers taught at Fort Edward School. So they go from highest to lowest, and a couple of 1 years there, first year, and into the medium and the mean and all that. So a lot went into it. There's lots of these posters.
I remember that. I was the number of ties, and Mr. Chase won.
Number of what?
Number of ties.
Number of ties.
Yeah. Most ties, and Mr. Chase won.
Yeah. So
all I know is when you said stats, I had a flashback.
Yeah. They had fun with us. So that's great. Thank you. Awesome.
All right, so let's move on. Finance committee met this evening, reviewed information that we saw today tonight. Any notes from the Finance Committee? The cafeteria report looks fantastic. We're in the black for for the second time in a long time. That's really great news. Everything else, all the reports are looking pretty great, so something to be proud of, absolutely. Any of these have to meet coming up, Mark?
Yeah.
I think there was a personnel committee that came through.
Yeah, we had a personnel committee.
Yeah.
And we met, discussed some of our employees, that were under tenure.
Okay.
Athletic committee.
The athletic committee.
Okay, so those two.
And we talked about the merger with our guy and a few other things.
Now's the time to start thinking, folks, about what committee you may want to be on next year, because we'll be selecting those July. So if you have a particular interest of a committee that you want to sit on, think about that stuff now. All right, superintendent report.
Well, superintendent report, basically, we're in transition. It's my last meeting here, formally with the board. You guys have been a great board. I think we grew a lot over the year from my first meeting on July 1st. That was interesting. But we come together, we've done great things. We got a budget passed.
Good ones, yeah.
We're in the black in a lot of areas right now.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
We have a plan for next year. The other thing with the transition is we were able to hire a superintendent. We have hired a principal, and also here we have a director of pupil services.
Services.
It's gonna be good.
Awesome.
So we have a transition for John and I to transition to a full administrative team. Our business office is actually gonna have a person stationed here 5 days a week, right here in Fort Edward. So that so our people get to go down if they need some things with, quick checks. Well, because you come down for the checks. So people come down for different checks and whatnot that they need. We could serve them. So it's not like earlier this year, we only, Michelle wasn't here. The office was basically physically held back. Now we can actually serve the community, our students and our staff every day in a way. So we're excited about that. We're excited about the transition, as you just heard, Bernie Donegan's office starting to plan 3 years out for that building project, as we move forward. In the transition planning, we're all meeting, I guess, on June 20th. So on June 20th, John, myself, and the new administrative team is gonna start the transition, left seat, right seat type stuff, where we're gonna let them know what we're handling and turn over things to, let's say, Erin on high school things that are gonna be popping up right away, like summer school, and some of the director of pupil service things, like the Title I grants, and all of those types of things, so that things are pretty seamless. And then we'll also be seeing each other probably in the last week in June, as they transition and with us. Richard's been involved with all of these guys with the hiring process. So in that transition, we've made sure that the new superintendent is helping to build this team. John and I were glad to work with him, and all of that has gone well. So we're really excited about, 22, 23, and where Fort Edward is, team-wise, financially, staffing-wise. You see we have a health teacher in this one, and we have many jobs posted, but we're leaving that to the new team to select the people that they want. So we're pretty excited.
Good stuff. All right.
Can I make a quick comment? I just want to take a minute to thank both Mr. Besson and Mr. Godfrey for your work this year for the district. I think one of the biggest things that I took from the superintendent interviews this year was a comment that one of the applicants had made that a great leader is somebody who builds capacity within their people and then leaves a place better than they found it. And I think that's what the two of you have done for this district this year as interims. And I think that as interims, that can be a slippery slope sometimes with regards to how much dedication somebody may have to a district. But I don't want to speak on behalf of the board, but I think we're all in agreement that the two of you were very much a dream team, quite frankly. I think you appeared to work very well together, and I think that you did. And you both brought a tremendous knowledge base from your previous work experience, and John obviously having grown up in this community, and it really was best case scenario for the scenario that we have been in. And so we appreciate your dedication in these roles. And then the lining it up so that it can be as smooth of a transition as possible is huge to just kind of keep us moving forward, that forward momentum. So thank you.
It's very grateful.
Absolutely. I'm sure Mark's saying, but I appreciate the opportunity to work with you folks. It's been great. The kids here are wonderful, the staff here, and so I've enjoyed every day, and I'm really going to miss it, but I had a great year here, and Mark and I do work well together, so.
We're trying to figure out a way to get this
It
thing
wasn't
show on the
total.
road.
Right.
We're trying to advertise ourselves as a two-first.
Well said, Amanda. You stole my thunder for the end of the meeting.
Oh, I'm
Good
so
job.
sorry.
You said it better than I could
sorry.
say, so thank you. But yeah, it's been a pleasure working with you guys, and any recommendations wherever you guys are going, you know, you can get up here. I think to combine, the two of you have like, I don't know, 480 years of experience. It shows, because you guys really, anytime we had a question, something we weren't really sure about, between the two of you guys knocked it out of the park, so I really appreciate your experience and the dedication you guys showed. So thanks, man. All right.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right.
You are next, yes, sir.
Okay, good. For the elementary principals report, we are happy to have our kindergarten graduation back to in-person this year. So we'll be holding it on Tuesday, June 22nd, 11 a.m. in our auditorium. And parents are welcome, and we're looking forward to this important event. So a big deal going on with our kindergartners. We'll also be having our 5th grade moving up ceremony on Thursday, June 23rd at 9 a.m. again in the auditorium. And parents are invited to share in the celebration. So we're expecting a nice celebration for both of those events. For the high school, on Thursday, May 26th, we had our fun day. And this is for students in grades, all students in grades 6 through 12. It was a beautiful day. It was like today, so we planned it nicely. Teachers and staff put on a number of activities for our kids. They were busy right from the morning to the end. They had brought in a variety of bikes, so the kids rode bikes around the track all day long. Different bikes they could try.
You did too.
Yeah, I think else did. I tried a couple myself, yeah. That was fun. Water games right out here, cooking inside, yoga, just dance in the auditorium, which was a big hit throughout the day. They did a frog dissection for the kids who could join that.
Love that.
Yeah, that was great. Tie-dyeing t-shirts on the front lawn, and they finished with a finale with each group did a tug of war, and then the seniors took on the faculty and staff for a tug of war. So that was a big finale there. But staff, it's a numbers game. We just had more staff. And we got out there in time. We only did it once. So. But again, we finished with a nice picnic-style lunch. Thanks again to the PTO and the cafeteria staff. They just made it nice, and everybody had a chance to eat and sit and relax. So, and also Mrs. Scotch for organizing this. So it's her idea. She brought it up. So that was yes. We also had our sports banquets this past Friday night. Our evening down at the fire company, well attended. All athletes, family members, and coaches. And we finished off. They enjoyed a nice dinner provided by the Fort Worth Booster Club. So it was great again to have that back in person, similar as we had in past years. It was just a nice evening down there.
Turkey was delicious.
Wasn't it great? Yeah, they did a nice job. Our 7th and 8th grade school test and Regents test will start this Wednesday, June 15th, and it runs through next Thursday, June 23rd. So we're all set with that. Regents boxes were delivered today about 3 o'clock, so they're locking the ball. We are ready to roll for that. And tomorrow morning is our annual senior walkthrough. We're doing it right after homeroom, and this is where our seniors take their last official walk as a class.
Just crying.
Yeah, through both the elementary and high school. We'll have Pomp and Circumstances playing on the speakers, and we'll lead them through. But we just want to congratulate a wonderful group of senior students. They're going to do great. But so it's a big day tomorrow. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff.
Let's get the treasurer.
Yeah, I think we're all good with the treasurer's report. Did you want to add anything, Charlene? The treasurer's report? Any questions for Charlotte? Buildings ground, Craig put something in the packets.
So in Greg's packet is, there's some information there about our boilers. We had a couple of days in the last winter where we only had 2 boilers running. We own 7 boilers, and maintenance wasn't really kept up to date on them. Since then, we brought 4 boilers back online, and by the end of this summer, there'll be all 6 of them up and ready for next season. The 7th boiler we're using for parts to get the other 5 running, and we have a plan to get that one fixed too. So that's the boilers. HVAC, we just installed a new mini split system in the library. So the library has 3 heads, the copy room has 1. It's a 10-ton compressor down there, and it gives us another place for the children to go on a hot day to get some respite. We're also looking at some of the other HVAC units in the system, because we believe that some of them just need parts, some nominal upkeep to get them back online. So we're looking at that with TBS. But the key is a lot of it will tie into this building project that we talked about earlier to get the building back to full standard. But like I said, the boilers is key. So next winter we want to have those days that are called, and we couldn't run our energy management system because you couldn't turn off the 2 boilers worrying about bringing them back online. So therefore we had to keep running those things 24/7 in order to keep the building warm enough for the students. Next year with 6 boilers, being able to bring the building up to full steam, we'll be able to start using the energy management system again.
Awesome. Any questions about maintenance report? I move to discussion items. The one I have that's not on the agenda is school security. When we looked at the annex the other day, we were talking a little bit about the improvements we made in the front of the building a couple of years to the last building project, right? With the bollards in the front and the double door access and things like that. And I know in the safety plan there's some things addressed, but there are some students who were concerned right after the Texas incident. They're wondering why we don't have this an SRO in the front of the building, or what are we doing to protect them? Obviously, it's got to be insane for those kids when you see that stuff on TV. You got Parkland where a door was open and a kid walked in, you got the same thing. Just the same things keep repeating. I think that we should just, I don't know if we have a special meeting with the safety committee. I'm in the security business. I got 20 clients and prospective clients that called me since the Texas shooting. They're looking for consulting, looking for hardware surveys, looking for all these different things. I think we're pretty good here. The safety plan is great, but do we have to consider enforcing one means of egress? Do we have to consider doing some things with the windows on K Street? Some of these other things that other schools are doing. It comes down to money, right? What do we have the ability to do? But it also comes down to a lot of these times when these things happen. It used to be it happened, the school couldn't do anything about it. Now there's a negligence attached to it. Have you done everything you can do? Are you changing your locks? Are you making sure that someone can't go out a side door and go smoke or something and prop that door open and anyone can walk in and completely get into school? Can we say that we've done everything? I think we probably should meet with some people, maybe a safety committee, maybe the police department, and just make sure that we're as safe as we possibly can be. And then if there's considerations and there's a want, maybe we look at pricing for an SRO or something. But I think we need to just take a minute, reevaluate where we're at. Are we doing everything we can do within our means to make sure that we're making this place a safe place?
We have a building grounds committee for health and safety. It does need to convene. We don't know. I've got questions. We need to convene not only that committee, whoever wants to be in that committee, but any local constabulary that's involved, whether it's the cops, whether it's our local, whether it's the sheriffs who are dealing with this in a bigger picture than we are, whether it's a troop, get them all in. So it's not just a discussion here, because we can keep this inside, but there's things out there that we don't know. And money shouldn't be a driving factor here. Safety is a driving factor. within the confines and constraints of what we can handle. But, you know, if we gotta trade Rob Peter to pay Paul to take care of that, then that's what we need to do. So I think we need to do that. We can talk all we want here, but we need to get those factors there and get a night and get together and meet.
I agree. Anybody else think?
Looks like that committee is Tom, Ella, and Joe, with an alternate as Chris Myers.
I think anyone wants to. come.
Absolutely.
Is that
It's open.
just
Yep.
open?
I
They're
think
all-
we make it
they're all
like maybe,
right, yeah.
I mean, even if we did like a workshop over the summer, which probably is a
Which-
good time.
which is
we
probably-
go through the whole school and all that stuff.
Probably the better thing, just have a workshop or whatever, rather than just a committee.
How did the meeting with the students go?
Well, some of them were gonna come to the meeting this
Tonight,
evening,
right?
but I guess it fell through, maybe they had something else going on.
We
But
went
you went
over,
with
we
the
did
students.
review with the students, the improvements that were done in this school district over the years, and we did share with them, you know, with using the Smart School Bond Act, creating of the man trap, the bowlers, all those things that we talked about. The updated camera system, which is only used to a degree of its capabilities. There's other things that could be done too, because I actually did this for a year, where we were hardening some schools. I worked in the Newburgh School District on it and Florida School District, where we did we upgraded their camera system, we upgraded their alarm system, we put in license plate readers. We put in a system where it was like, if a door was ajar, an alert went to all the administrators on their cell phones. But in addition to that, whoever made the door go ajar, it was a picture of them right away, so you know who was doing it. And it did take some correcting of materials, because there are also some other things that we did where while you have your ID card only works at certain doors on some certain hours, meaning like before school, maybe we could all enter from wherever our car is parked. During the school day, we all would have to go to an empty store, regardless of where we park. So if I, let's say, went out the door into this parking lot to go get something from my car, during the school day, I couldn't swipe myself back in. I had to go all the way around to get back in. And that protects the school, because then this card, if it's found outside, somebody can't come in during the school day, because it's denied access. There's one button lockdown in this school, which also deactivates all of the cards except for a card used by the police. So those issued cards are excluded from the shutdown. So there's a lot of things that we can still do, and there is some smart school bond money available for technology, but what it won't cover is the human piece. And at that point, that's where we have to talk to the village, and we have to talk to the sheriff's department. Warren County, it's not as expensive. They use retirees, so they're giving the retiree the $30,000, and they bring them in. I mean, my wife's one of those retirees that comes into the sheriff's department. You know, she's just glad to get out of the house 1 or 2 days a week. Same thing with school resource officers. We have one retired state trooper, John, who comes once a week. The county's giving him to us as a freebie. Real nice gentleman. He comes in every week, does a tour of the building, checks things out, talks to kids in the cafeteria.
Officer Huntington, he's here today.
Yeah, we have Steve Huntington, retired Grand Falls PD, working for the village.
I
Well,
thought
then
to
he
have
comes as
him
often as he
part
can.
of that. It'd be great to have him as
Well-
part of that meeting as far as.
Well,
what
we want, there may be
expect
federal
us to
and
do.
or state money allotted to that anyway, so that may be a non-issue. Our problem, our deficiency is in the fact that we don't know what we don't know. So like you're talking about, there's things there that we're unaware of. For us to sit and make a decision without having input from these guys who do know, we're doing ourselves a disservice. So I think we should just hold off, have a discussion, let's set a workshop, let's get him, let's get whoever else is available, bring him in, tell us what we don't know.
Richard, you gotta come up with a meeting date that works for everybody.
So New York State itself is pretty progressive with a lot of stuff. I mean, if you look around, you'll see like in every building, there's a window with a number. This tells them from the outside, this is the Board of Ed room. Any room that has a number is labeled for the room numbers. Those are things that they did not have in some of these other places. So there's been a big move by the state police, Homeland Security. There's a big program that John and I filled out back in our old districts called Rapid Responder, which is required to turn into the New York State Police, building plans. There's ways that our camera system gets turned over to the county in the event of emergency. There's a lot of things that technology-wise behind the scenes are happening. Like I said, the only real hold here is the physical person that's there every day engaging with the kids,
With
making
cameras
them
on
feel
our
safe.
buses as well.
Mhm.
With cameras on
Yes,
our
we do.
buses as well.
Working.
Yeah, working cameras, not only that, but we also have them on our stop arms, so that if anyone was to pass a bus left or right, we get a picture of their license plate. and
But like you guys, I will say, having been an administrator in another building that did have an SRO, it's very comforting having with Steve McKinney, I don't know if he was a sheriff around here, he was just wonderful. And getting his rapport, it takes a certain type of guy to be effective. And so if you get an effective one, it's good.
We had school resource officers before Columbine down in Saratoga. It was called the juvenile division of the Saratoga PD, and they assigned 2 law enforcement officers to the school on a daily basis. And in Granville, we had a retired Granville PD sergeant who worked our 180-day calendar for the $30,000. His PBA waived off the right that it belonged to an active guy, and we had Sergeant Williams in there every day for a few years until they finally went to Florida. It was a great deal.
That's your idea at the time.
John,
I just want to answer Ella's initial question. The meeting with the students went very well. They were looking just for someone to listen, to form, to share their ideas, so we allowed that to happen in the auditorium. They were great. Mark and I just spoke briefly of all things were going on, and we listened to them, and we told them we also have a board who is very engaged and wants to know what's going on and would be willing to listen. That's why they thought they'd come here, but they may in the future. But they had some good thoughts, and we said, we're in it together. We'll share ideas, and so, yeah, the meeting went well.
And as a matter of fact, one of the things that did come up was mental health. And they're very happy to hear that you guys did put in for a social worker for next year. So they were impressed and said, you're thinking ahead of mental health issues in the school.
I'll tell you guys, I saw a couple of kids stop talking about it. The big thing, they felt like they were heard. So that's the point.
that's good. Awesome.
So,
Thank you.
so well.
At this point, I'm gonna go back to the front page of the agenda so we can get the hearings done. All right, so I'm gonna call the District Code of Conduct hearing to order, 7:30, let's say. Or talk to us about the
So
Code of Conduct.
this is your district code of conduct, and if you can see on the cover page, it was reviewed by a committee on 6/30 and approved by the Board of Education on 6/10. This is the same plan 2 years later, it's unchanged. So we didn't hear any call for or anything to change the plan, so we're going forward with the same plan. So being that there are no changes, you guys can approve this tonight. If there were any changes, we would have to post those changes for a 30-day notice.
And there has to be a complete review process.
And a
There has to be
complete
meetings
review
with
process,
all
right.
stakeholders and everybody else.
Exactly. So with that being said, John and I were approached, like, what was it, 2 weeks ago, John? Where they wanted to change something in the code of conduct, possibly down the road. And it has to do about eligibility for athletes.
Right.
And I guess it's in the code. And if they were to do it, we explained to them, you can amend the code if you guys are serious about it come July and August. Start working as a committee, get it before the board in August, have them give it the 30-day notice for September. It could be approved by the September board meeting, all things going well. And by October, when you have your first 5-week period coming to an end, your new standards of what the eligibility rules would be could be updated. So the group that is interested in knows what it is. If they don't do it this year, Aaron and Richard will have to start working with them in February to say, if you want to change the eligibility rules, we need to get busy right away. Because June comes a lot faster than you think when it's February for these types of things. Because you only get so many meetings a month. So that's this. I recommend, since there are no changes, that later in the meeting that you approve this.
Any discussion, any further discussion on that? All right, so,
And then we have, I'm sorry, I do have a question.
Then
So
I'm
then
gonna
there's
close
these
this meeting.
other code of conduct.
So-
Right, so those other code of conducts are basically sub-codes of conduct to this one. So you got your district code of conduct, which then authorizes you to now make one that's more age appropriate to the district one. The one we worry about really is the district one. And then those guys basically work off of this one. So those are basically a subset of this one. But they can't do anything that's not in this one. And what you do is with the elementary one, you make it a little bit more elementary friendly.
Right,
Whereas with the secondary one, sometimes it's a little bit more black and white, so they could identify what's coming in.
So it's like a Cliff Notes version.
Yeah.
of-
so we actually, as the board, approve this document,
Yeah.
which then, we don't actually approve these, but
Yeah,
these are
but-
built off
But
of
because
this.
for them, it historically has, they're on your agenda.
Got it.
Right,
Oh,
and this one's on, this one has to be on file with the state.
Yeah.
So this goes
And on
down,
our
they
webpage.
supposedly review it.
And our webpage.
Supposedly.
Right, I send this
I didn't mean
down,
that.
I send this
These are
down,
not.
a PDF version of this goes down to the state, and we have to change the cover page to
Okay,
have the new board approval date.
the only, am I allowed to have comments now?
Yeah,
Is this
sure.
the time for it?
Yeah.
The only comment that I have, and this is all, because I feel like everything is a work in progress and things, but just for future reference as we're moving forward, the elementary one is quite neat and tidy, very uniform. The secondary one has different fonts, different things are underlined, different formatting. So for something for in the future, just to be a little more cohesive when looking at it, I think would be beneficial, not to happen right away by any means, but just something for
Yeah.
the future.
noted.
You're with me?
You write that down there?
I'm on it.
Yeah, see, here goes your summer.
It's not rushed, it's stuff like that's not a rush.
No, that's-
It's just a
This is
thing.
my summer.
No, it's good.
So I'm glad you called it for a
As long as it's on digits, you're good to go.
Digits.
There you go. That's all good?
Good.
Okay, I'm gonna close the,
No, you're right.
Yes.
Close out.
I'll conduct the hearing.
close the code of conduct hearing at 7:34. Okay, we're gonna call the safety plan hearing to order at 7:34.
Yeah, so this one is a little different, there's more regulations that go with this one. So basically, this is done for us by Needham Risk Management. This is a professional firm that keeps our safety plan up to date and to standard with New York State. And although there are no changes in it, it still needs to go for the 30-day review. So what you're gonna be doing is, on this one later on in the meeting, you're gonna be approving it to be posted, and then you guys will get to approve it on your July 13th, or whatever date that is, board meeting. Not on the one on the 1st, but the one on the regular board meeting.
Yeah, last week, the third.
Right. So it's actually gonna be 29 days, the state's not gonna kill you for a day, so that's what this is, but this is really the same and no different in your prior one. And what we've done is, we've cleaned up a lot of things where it lists things by position rather than by name. So I think in your first one about 2 years ago, it would identify by name who goes to this, that, and the other thing. Now it identifies by position, the principal, the superintendent, the treasurer, the high school secretary, and that way everyone's role is there. Now, when that being said, after this is approved, somewhere along the lines, it would be good for safety, as you know, Tom. You need to do what's called the tabletop exercise. And what the tabletop exercise is basically getting all of the key players on this sheet in the room and basically having them know what their roles and responsibilities are. The other thing is, when I was doing this a couple of years back, we were trying to get the administration to do NIMS 400, 700, I think it's 200, you know, the NIMS books.
Mhm.
Right. So we were trying to get them to do the NIMS, I can't remember, I think it's 200, 400, and 700, and those affect schools. And that helps you with your tabletop exercises and further explains in detail what all these jobs are. So it explains what an incident commander is, it explains what all of the titles are that are in there, you know, what the person does, who's the note taker. And even gives you products that you could use when note taking in the event of an emergency. And an emergency is not necessarily just a, you know, the terrible thing. It could be, like we had to use it in Granville when we had, I think it was Hurricane Irene and the Meadowee River overflowed and we had to move people into our building and turn generators on and do everything.
natural or
Yeah.
man-made disaster.
Is there a team that meets to go over that tabletop stuff and review that stuff?
Yeah, basically the team could do it on their own. Needham will come in and help them.
Did you ever bring BOCES in? Didn't Mark Sullivan, wasn't that?
Yeah, Mark Sullivan
So we
comes in and
brought
does that.
Mark Sullivan did that.
Mark Sullivan.
And we're, so when you say that, so they may not know, but he went, because he was so adept
Because
in
we meet
process.
monthly, but like I'm part of the building safety team in my building, and we meet monthly and, you know, review and kind of, we have like a cheat sheet of like all those people and where they are, like this person will be posted here, and this person makes these phone calls, that person has a monkey, and this person. So I just didn't know if that was something that, the staff that is part of that committee, if they meet and
No, and they-
like a cheat sheet of like, who are these people in this?
And that's what the NIMS is and
Yeah,
does
okay,
that for you.
just
All right, any further discussion on the safety? All right, so we're gonna close it at 7:37. All right. All right, consent agenda, need approval, I need a motion for A, B, and C on the consent agenda. John, Christina, any questions?
I
Any discussion?
have just a couple of minor updates for minutes drafts for the 23rd meeting, May 23rd. For number 2, the motion was made by Christina, seconded by me. We need to indicate that the motion carried 6-0. And
Which one was that, I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, the 23rd.
23rd?
May 23rd. And for that executive session, we went in at 5:45. John Guglielmo entered at 5:50, and then it has me leaving at 7:50. So that John entering would be plugged into the middle there.
Thank you.
And then one other one, just on the 31st of May, that motion needs to indicate motion carried 6-0 for number 2. For the appointment. That's it.
Thank you. Got that, Toby?
Thank you, Toby.
With those corrections, I have 2 motions, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. Okay, so action items. James came in at 7:15. Let's see. Action item A. Need a motion as it reads on your board packet. I won't save you the reading of all that stuff. I need a motion for consent item, action item A. Ella and Christina? Any discussion? Just for the public, it's about the transference of funds. Any discussion? All in favor? All good? Thank you. All right, motion to approve the district-wide safety plan for posting on the school website for the required 30-day comment period. The board will formally adopt the finalized plan by resolution at the regular board meeting in July after the 30-day comment period expires and necessary changes are made. Need a motion? James, Amanda, any discussion? All in favor? Okay. All right. Motion to approve the CSE, CPSE recommendations as included in the board packets. Christina and John, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve disposal of fixed assets as listed in the board packets. Any motion? Ella? Tim's on the record. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion to approve the contract for services between Fort Edward UFSD and, what? Mr. John?
Are we on E? The code of conduct?
Skip the whole page.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm super.
Thanks for a quick meeting, but really didn't get it.
Rush through.
He's approving by the page.
You know, it really makes.
Like, whoa.
At least somebody's paying attention.
That's,
Um,
I thought I was wrong, I'm like, that's not reading, that's not what I'm reading.
Motion to approve the 22-23 District Code of Conduct as presented in the June board packets. Christina and Ella, any discussion? All in favor? Good to go. Motion to approve the 22-23 High School Code of Conduct as presented in the June board packets. John, Amanda, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Motion to approve the contract for educational services between the Fort Edward.
No.
Oh.
You missed one.
We got the
Elementary.
All right.
It's in a couple of code of conducts and
Yeah.
there's a few.
Motion to approve the 22-23 elementary school code of conduct as presented in the June board packets. It's a mouthful. That was in our packets too. Tim?
Yes.
And Amanda? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on. Motion to approve the contract for educational services between the Fort Edward Union Free School District and Prospect School Center for Disability Services for the 22-23 school year. That was in our packets. John, Christina? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Been in the seat too long. Motion to approve the security and temperature alarm system contract with Mahoney Alarms for the 22-23 school year. John, Ella, they've been our provider for quite some time. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the contract for legal services between Fort Edward UFSD and Gervin and Filazzo Law Offices for the 22-23 school year. That was not the packet as well. Amanda and Christina. They've also been on with us for a very, very long time. Very good,
They're also
very good
top.
partner there. Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, right? Motion to approve the contract for services between Fort Edward Youth Free School District and Yeager and Flynn for flex plan services for FESS contract for 22-23 school year. Ella, Christina, any discussions? Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve contract services between Fort Edward and Pupil Benefits for student accident insurance for the 22-23 school year. Motion, James, John, any discussion or questions?
What was the rate per student prior to this?
$8.
838.
Yeah, that's what this is, but I just didn't know if that was an increase or.
What was it previous?
Okay, just
I
curious.
look back, yeah, it's a little increase.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
All good. Motion to approve the contract for services between Fort Edward and Oak Hill School for special education services, 22-23 school year. Amanda. Christina. Any discussion? All in favor?
What was that again?
That's Oak Hill, that's, M.
Number two.
Amanda.
Amanda, Christina. Motion to approve the contract services between Fort Edward and Spec Ed Solutions for special education services, 22-23 school year. Tim. Amanda, any discussion?
They are a phenomenal company to work with and for. They are the ones that will oversee the Medicaid bill, the claiming for the
Oh, okay. Awesome. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the contract for services between Fort Edward and Northern Rivers for special education services for the 22-23 school year. And that's for the Northeast Parent and Child Society. Tim, Amanda, any discussion?
Just while we're on these two items, what is the difference between these two items?
Two
Two different facilities.
Two
One's
locations.
the Northeast Parent and Child
Okay,
place, and the next one you'll see is Parsons.
that's what I assumed. Yep.
There's different pricing as well in the packet, you'll see.
Yeah, I saw there were two contracts, and I didn't understand.
All in favor? I'm going to abstain as my company does business with Northern Rivers. Motion to approve the contract for services between Fort Edward and Northern Rivers Parson Child and Family Center for special education services for the 22-23 school year.
Motion.
Tim and Ella, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll abstain on that too. All right, motion to accept the bid from Leonard Bus Sales for the 5-year lease of a 66-passenger bus not to exceed $23,300 per year. The lease was voter approved on 5/17. John? Christina? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Good.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the Fort Edward Recreation Department for the use of the school building for programs and bus transportation for summer field trips
And programs.
and programs.
It says programs. Yes.
Programs and bus transportation.
Oh, did it?
Did I skip it over?
Programs and transportation.
Gotcha. Amanda and Christina, any discussion? I thought your letter was lackluster, James.
For me, it was really like, it was one of those.
Very
Spiced it up a little
I
bit.
usually involve the hyperbolic verbiage, but that's on this one. I just didn't, I knew you were reading it, so I didn't want to cause any problems.
All in favor?
I'll abstain.
You can abstain.
Oh, yeah.
James can abstain on that. All right, so personnel.
Tom, just a second.
Yeah.
Mark, did you want to add in for advanced therapy?
Yes, we have an advanced therapy contract that did not make it on here, so we do need to add
S.
Is that?
Yeah, RS, advanced therapy. It's one of the contracts that's here.
Do you want to add it there?
Should everybody see it?
I have one too.
Oh, this is government philosophy.
Oh, sorry. I thought it said.
Is that what it says? Yep,
Advanced
advanced
therapy.
therapy. Yep.
You've used them before, right?
Yep. These contracts are all like, every June, you're gonna see this. Usually what'll happen is in May, Charles will start reaching out to all the people he has contracts with. He'll get them to send the updated ones, and then that way, so we get them early enough in June and get them all on the agenda. Last week, we were playing catch-up, right? Last week, getting them on the stage. Craig did a great job calling around, getting them all, and but it was interesting.
All right. So I need a motion to, accept the contract from Advanced Therapy for the 2022-23 school year. Tim and Amanda, any discussion? All in favor? So that is, S. Look, that was a typo in the number, but it's 10.
Say it again, Pat.
I thought there was a typo on the front page of the payment, but it wasn't. All right, personnel. Motion to appoint Heather Hardy as backup claims auditor for the 22-23 school year per FEHSBO contract. Tim. Amanda. Any discussion? All in favor? Good. Motion to appoint Ryan Herman as public information specialist at a rate of pay of $4,000. Need a motion, James? Tim? Any discussion?
He does a good job.
He does.
He does a
great
great
job. He really does. All in favor? Aye. Good. Okay. Well, thank everyone again. Motion to approve $1,000 stipend for Ryan Herman to migrate Fort Edwards webpage to the new platform. John? Christina? Any discussion? All in favor? Motion to appoint Marianne Stark as mentor coordinator for the 22-23 school year, rate of pay per contractual rate. Christina and Amanda, any discussion? All in favor? Motion to appoint Joyce Long as Director of Pupil Services per the employment agreement by and between the Fort Edward Union School District and the Fort Edward Administrators Association for a probationary period of 4 years commencing July 1, 2022 through June 30, 2026, and a starting salary of $90,000. Need a motion. Christina and John, any discussion? Welcome, Joyce.
Welcome.
Well, we didn't vote, we didn't vote yet.
Welcome to the meeting.
Just say welcome on board, we didn't vote.
Welcome to the meeting.
Wait, trying to get it or what?
Are you sure?
She still has a chance, because they didn't vote, they wanted to do that.
I wouldn't be sad if you signed a little something at him there, but.
Yeah.
I can't use those words in public.
Gotta follow protocol.
All in favor? Aye.
Joyce, welcome.
Welcome.
Nice to have you on board.
Thank you very much.
And Aaron, welcome as well. I didn't get a chance to meet you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Motion to appoint Krista Britt to a 4-year probationary appointment as health teacher, Master Step 4, effective September 1, 2022, at a rate of pay per the FETA contract. Motion. Christina? And Tim? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
You're abstaining.
Oh.
One abstain.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome. It's about time.
I know,
It's been open for a long time.
it's been a while.
Motion to appoint Stephanie Alucci.
Illusion.
As summer school elementary teacher, July 6th to July 28th, at a rate of pay for FETA contract. Christina? Amanda? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All good. Motion to appoint Yaya Ingley as a full-time cleaner at a rate of pay per FESS contract effective June 14, 2022. Amanda and James, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Motion to appoint Marianne Roberts as summer speech therapist, July 6th to July 28th at a rate of pay per FETA contract. Motion. Amanda and James, any discussion? All in favor? Good. Motion to accept the resignation of Alexia Godey as teaching assistant effective June 3rd, 2022. James, Christina. With regret and gratitude. All in favor? All right, coaching. All coaching appointments are made pending completion and verification of all required coaching credentials. Stipend per FETA contract commensurate with experience and no other salary or benefits. All coaching extracurricular appointments are subject to reduction pending final student enrollment numbers and pending the outcome of any potential mergers and emergency school closings. Motion to appoint Christina Durkee as varsity volleyball coach for the 2022-2023 school year as an unpaid volunteer coach. Tim and John and Tim. Any discussion except thank you very much.
I would just like to say that this is, aside from being sister-in-law to Christina, this is the third year now that she will coach a varsity level sport. Yes, the 1 year was a COVID year, but there was the fall 2 season for that. And part of the reality of being, in these seats is you cannot get paid, but she chooses to continue to coach the sport because she loves the sport. And so we are going on year 3 now of volunteer, which we know what the coaching salary is, and that's a pretty tremendous monetary donation at this point. So,
All set.
Thank you.
I'm gonna turn all pink.
So,
All in favor?
I will abstain from my
You should
position.
I'm abstaining.
abstain too? We're good. No, we're okay.
we got five. We got five.
Yeah, 2 abstentions. Motion to appoint Amelia Taylor as junior varsity volleyball coach for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay per contractual rate. Christina, Amanda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Samantha Markham as modified volleyball coach for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay per contractual rate. Christina. Amanda. Thank you. Any discussion?
I look forward to working with
Yeah, there you go. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Michael Sullivan as varsity football coach for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay per contractual rate. John. James. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion to appoint Jeffrey Durkee as modified football coach for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay per contractual rate. Motion. Tim? John? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Oh, abstain.
Two abstain. Motion to appoint John Boucher as boys modified basketball coach for 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay per contractual rate. Tim and John Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Samantha Markham as girls modified basketball coach for the 2022-2023 school year at rate of pay per contractual rate. Motion. Amanda. James. Any discussion?
I think I should know who she is, and I feel bad. Is she an employee at the district?
She's our
Yeah.
Math teacher, got it, okay,
She's
thank
our
you.
first year.
Yes,
He's stepping
okay,
up. Big.
thank you.
Thank you.
The name was familiar.
All in favor? Aye, you're good on that, right? Okay. Motion to appoint Jeffrey Durkee as boys varsity basketball coach for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay per contractual rate. Motion. Tim and John show. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, two abstain. Yeah. How many pages left? Motion to appoint Jeffrey Tully as boys junior varsity baseball coach for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay per contractual rate. Need a motion. Tim and Amanda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to appoint Paige Toomey as girls modified softball coach, 2022-2023 school year, rate of pay contractual. James? Amanda? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint John Bowser as golf coach, 2022-2023 school year, rate of pay contractual rate. Tim and Amanda? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Ryan Herman as STEM club advisor for the 2022-2023 school year, rate of pay per contractual rate. Amanda and James, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Lisa Corlew as high school student council advisor for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay per contractual rate. James, Tim, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Debbie LeBaron as elementary student council advisor for the 2022-2023 school year, rate of pay per contractual rate. Christina. Amanda. Any discussion?
Yes. Elementary student council. We realized we really had that.
Excellent question.
What do they do? I know some things they've done, they did the, I know they meet on a regular basis, they did, this year where they're on the phone, trying to raise money, I forget the name.
Trees.
Yes, trees there, and, Brian, I don't have a list of things they do, but I know they're, you know, they meet on a regular basis, and are fairly active, I just don't know what extra activities they did, with that.
I mean, as long as you're active, really never heard of an elementary student council.
Southwest also has one.
And
My daughter was on.
We had two gentlemen. It was very, kids were involved.
I mean,
What is that?
well, yeah, but, I don't know, I was just asking.
Politicians.
Yeah.
Cut
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Joanna Scotch and Ryan Herman as National Honor Society co-advisors for the 22-23 school year at a rate of salary per contractual rate. Tim? Amanda? Any discussion?
Is that, oh, never mind, it says co-advisors. So are there two advisors for that, or it's, so it's one stipend and they're splitting it? Got it.
All in favor?
They did a great job.
Motion to appoint Jeff Tully, Eric Becker, Jeff Durkee as rate training co-advisors for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay per contractual rate. Tim?
Christina and I are
No
out.
motion.
Motions.
What do we got?
They need a second.
We need a second for.
We got P. James second. Any discussion?
Yeah, is Eric a coach anywhere?
Becker?
Oh, Eric Becker?
Yeah.
No, he just says that he's an English teacher, goes to New York.
Yeah, is it a separate activity other than
It's like a
sports?
club.
Is it a club? Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. That's
Two abstentions.
Okay, motion to appoint Lori DeSerti as junior class advisor for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay per contractual rate. Amanda? Tim? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
R is next, correct? For some reason I got all in favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Motion to appoint Christina
Case.
Kristen Maury and Debbie LeBaron as co-advisors for ski club for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay per contractual rate. Amanda, John, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Ryan Herman and John Boucher's Trap Club co-advisors for the 2022-2023 school year rate of pay for contractual rates.
So, just so you know, this is a volunteer club at this time. But there's still, it's being approved now, and if something happens during negotiations where this becomes a paid club, it's already covered.
Oh,
Okay,
So there is
So
no
right,
contractual rate.
okay.
Gotcha, okay.
Alright.
All right.
Contractual rate.
That's fine.
Zero.
Christina, John, did you say John? Christina, and John and Christina.
yes.
Any discussion? All in
Were they the
favor?
two that, they are the ones who have been doing
Yeah.
this position, right?
Yeah, you do a great job.
Yeah, they-
You do the next.
John actually did, John and Aaron, they made popcorn at the thing that the Booster Club did
yeah.
here, and all the proceeds went to buy all of the,
Rounds.
for Trap Club.
Oh, that's
this
awesome.
year.
And
Yeah.
I think he sells throughout the summer at the market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Amanda Lucas, Ryan Herman, and John Boucher as co-advisors for the senior class for 2022-2023 school year to rate pay for contractual rates. Tim, Amanda, any discussion?
My only discussion was, I noticed that there's 3 for the senior class, there's only 1 for the junior class and 1 for the freshman class.
So I had that same.
So the three have been doing it for years, and the junior class person is,
Lori,
Lori.
not Heather.
Lori.
right, and Lori might end up bringing someone on board with it, because if they're gonna have a junior dance, it's gonna be a lot of work.
Well, that's normally the busiest of all the years in high school.
Right.
It's, not unless it was senior after COVID year.
Yeah.
This is the
So
busiest
it's-
year.
Lots of times it's great to have co's, as Maggie puts out here, but right now Lori's doing it on her own. If she was to seek a co and bring one before the board, I'm sure it would work out well.
It's 3 an appropriate number.
There's no,
Or-
Three, they're
Sure, if they work
splitting it, and,
Yeah, work together is
I
fine.
mean, how many kids are in the class?
but there's a,
Yeah.
Maggie,
You
there's a lot to
split
do.
There's only
There's a
one
lot
side
to do,
time.
but
There's one
Yeah,
side
it's
time.
split
It's
between
two
two.
or three ways.
Split between
Yeah.
3
We work
ways.
together. The more hands, that makes it easier.
I was just, curious.
Between the trip, the dance, the graduation, all of the,
I mean, I know
Not
this
more
year's
pictures.
soccer advisor doesn't work all that hard, so.
See?
You're
she makes it look like she's not working that hard. She's working hard.
there's no Christmas present for you.
I know.
I know where he lives.
Yeah.
Next.
So we got motions, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Paige Toomey as advisor for the freshman class for the 2022-2023 school year contractual rates. James and Tim, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Motion to appoint Nelson Chase and Marianne Stark as yearbook co-advisors 22-23 school year contractual rates. John? Amanda? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Peter Prindle as yearbook financial advisor for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay or contractual rate. James and Christina? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Nicole Schilling as football cheerleading advisor for 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay or contractual rate. Tim, Amanda, any discussion? All in
Call her a
favor?
coach.
I'm sorry. What's that?
Don't call her a coach.
It's not.
It's not
It's
as
not an actual sport.
Watch
Or
It's
a
a-
recognized sport.
You gotta watch your
It's
schedule.
considered here as a club, it's not.
Here's a club, if your sport is a whole different animal of cheerleading.
Alright.
It's
Your
competitive.
certification goes along with it, the whole long process, so if you can get away with it, this is easier.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Nelson Chase as bowling coach for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay per contractual rate. James and John, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Lori Sturdy as sports chaperone unlimited for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay for contractual rate. Amanda and Tim, any discussion?
What is a sport chaperone unlimited?
Sports chaperone is a sports chaperone when needed for a, let's say, a basketball game, you bring in a chaperone, someone to help with crowd control,
Okay.
sell tickets, whatever.
Any
It's
kind
not
of,
limited to a certain sport.
But,
event.
no, yeah, she could do football, she could do basketball.
Wherever there's a crowd.
Cool, good question. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Lori DeSerti as detention monitor for 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay for contractual rate. Amanda and James? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Sarah Taylor as drama club advisor for the 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay for contractual rate.
Well, hold on, there's an amendment here. We're adding, 2 more names to that.
Okay,
So we're adding, Mary Ann Stark and is it Ashley Godfrey. So there's 3 people on there.
Motion to appoint Sarah Taylor, Marianne Stark, and Ashley Godfrey as drama club co-advisors for the 2022-2023 school year, rate of pay for contractual rates. Amanda and Christina, any discussion? All in favor?
It's nice to see some of these things kind of.
So they're looking at possibly a musical next year and maybe drama, but definitely a musical.
That's awesome. Motion to appoint Sarah Taylor as Mike and Michael Smith as co-advisors for the Triumph Music Club for the 2022-2023 school year, rate of pay for contractual rate. James, Christina, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Motion to approve the appointment of John Boucher as summer program social studies teacher, July 6th to July 28th, 2022, at a rate per FETA contract. Tim and Amanda, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the appointment of Stuart Alheim as boys varsity basketball coach for 2022-2023 school year at a rate of pay per contractual rate. Christina, John, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you to everyone who stepped up for positions. It's a lot of time, we appreciate it.
What is the one contract that wasn't in here?
You got it. Yeah.
For what was the group?
Dance therapy.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's one I'm missing.
Any public comment?
Just a minute.
No, I have one public comment.
There you
This is
go.
a payback.
Oh.
I did notice that nobody did sign up to coach the boys modified baseball next year, and just know somebody would love to coach the Baptist Bears next year.
Let me, put a week of thought into that.
There you go. You got a week, John.
I do love baseball, but I do want to say that Maggie did a wonderful job as the class advisor, and I know she worked very hard.
Oh, yeah, that was great. All the events were fantastic.
Yeah, big trip coming up.
Mary Ann said that it's Mary Ellen Godfrey, not Ashley Godfrey for the drama club.
Oh, yes, Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen.
My God.
Oh, somebody.
All right, it's a Godfrey.
We got
Mary,
correct.
yeah.
Club.
We need to correct it, it's Mary Ellen Godfrey.
Mary Ellen did a while. She used to do it with Mr. Sir.